This is taken from a blog that I found a while ago and then forgot about, called Redefining God. Now, this is taken from the end of this article where this guy is predicting that the beginning of World War III, which will be totally staged, is going to begin with Turkey and Syria. And he says that when Putin defeats Turkey, which will be inspired by the script, which Erdogan has cast as the revived Ottoman Empire, he will not only save Christian in quotations civilization from the Islamist onslaught and avenge the destruction of Rome, but he'll also return Constantinople to Christendom. The ancient Roman Empire will thus be reunited, and the new global Roman Empire, the reformed and strengthened United Nations, will rise like a phoenix from the ashes of the conflict. Now, I wanted to read this out because I found from my own research that this is right and true. So, it's important for new readers to understand that the globalists control both sides in the current political drama. And the reason I read this out is for all of you who still believe in Trump. And I know there's many of you. You need to realise you're being fooled. So the establishment side, and perhaps in further writings or other articles he's expanded on this, but when we say establishment, okay, you have to understand that all that means is secret societies. It was always the secret societies that created and owned and operated civilization. Okay, that may be a lot to take on board, and you may not know how to resolve that in your mind, but that is the fact. All of civilization, beginning from Babylon, and as it carried on through history, is the work of the secret societies. So when we say establishment, what we mean is Masonry. And when we say Masonry, what we are saying is communism. Because the New World Order, the utopian ideal, the Luciferian agenda, has always and always will be the secret societies. So the establishment side: Obama, Clinton, Soros, the Bilderbergers, the mainstream media, the Zionist, Nazi, neocon, neolib, deep state, the communist, socialist, etc. And the anti-establishment side: Trump, Le Pen, Putin, the BRICS, the alternative media, the patriot, constitutionalist, deep state, the libertarians, Austrian economists, etc. They are deliberately staging a dialectic conflict between these two controlled fronts in order to implode their existing establishment and erect a new one, the New World Order, in its place. This is the true narrative of what's going on in our world today. What I'll be covering in the writings that follow are the specific events and false narratives they're attempting to use in moving us into the New World Order. Since there are two controlled sides to the staged conflict, and make no mistake, you can quote Putin as saying the best way to lead the opposition, the best way to control the opposition is to lead it. And when he said it, it was no secret. It's just that the flock, in their ignorance, do not know that their enemy tells them to their face what they plan to do to them. And when they are told, they don't believe it. There are two false narratives the globalists are spinning. One, the mainstream narrative, which is the establishment side propaganda they sell to the sleepers. And two, the alt-media narrative, which is the anti-establishment side propaganda they sell to those who are awakening. The establishment is for the dupes. The anti-establishment is for the dupes who think they're not dupes. any longer. They want you to come to see the mainstream narrative as a lie and the alt media narrative as the truth, and yet they're both lies. Because when you learn history, you will understand this lie. That's because today's alt media will be the mainstream media of the New World Order. Yes. In past entries, and it was when I read this that I said, yes, I have to make a video on this, because this is exactly what I was saying probably 2 years ago, and I could find nobody to back me up. In past entries, I've talked about the globalist effort to shift people to the political right in preparation for the launch of the real right-wing New World Order. This is where it's cemented. How does this work? The leftism, okay, is change and agitation. The right is conservatism, or the rampart, the building up, the kingdom, okay? But these things exist in judgment, but the way the Masons use it is false. They create a false dichotomy. There is no good and evil in the Mason dichotomy. It's only lies on all sides. The right-wing New World Order. The much publicised and feared left-wing New World Order being just a decoy used to scare us to the right. To scare us into the hands of the controllers. Okay? This effort to move the herd rightward is the reason the media are using leftist dimwits like AOC to scare the American public into thinking the heroic Trump is the only thing standing between them and a leftist catastrophe of open borders, political violence, silenced speech, grabbed guns, and a Venezuela-like socialist communist economy. That being said, you now have the proper contextual framework to understand the globalists' true motives in orchestrating ongoing and coming events. Here is a list of entries I've written this year on what might happen and has happened in 2019. I'm not going to make a video of conjecture, because if you want to read this, you can do it yourself, but there are many of you out there who need to know this. And again, I will say, if you want to truly understand the thread of history and the work of evil, you need to go and listen to every hour of Bill Cooper's Hour of the Time series, beginning with hour 1, listening to them consecutively without skipping. And that is hours and hours of listening. But let me tell you, by hour 4 or 5, you will be entranced. You will be fascinated. You will not be able to stop. So what you need to do is you need to become aware of these things, and you need to wake up.